Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the second to last race of the regular season for the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. After last week's spills at Watkins Glen, a perfect name for tonight's race. Have a great race 225, and these drivers are set to race here at Charlotte, and this race is presented by Colored Teal Graphics. As tonight, it is exciting to see how these drivers will attack. This is the second to last race. We've got that of Nashville Super Speedway next week to cap off this incredible regular season that we've had 10 different winners for in our 12 races, our past 11 races. Tonight will be race number 12. All drivers are now going to see, could we get our 11th different winner, or will we see some more drama and flair kick up? We're proud to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. For myself, Sam Dyer, we got Zach Hall joining me up in the booth, as well as Robert Moyer Jr. in the background running the productions. Zach, tonight, Charlotte, a track that most know this based off iRacing. It's one of the free tracks that the drivers are given. And now it's time to see how these drivers are practiced for tonight.
Yeah, that it is, Sam. Like they say, this is pretty much the home of NASCAR, too, here in Charlotte. And they're going to have a chance here tonight to see what they can do. And it comes into such a big race. You brought it up, 2 races remaining before the playoffs. We got 9 drivers right now that do have themselves locked in. Christopher Norris is 18th in points with 1 win. So technically, if it was to end right now, he would be locked in, but he needs to keep himself above that 20th spot, about 8 points above that right now, and above that 20th position. So going to be critical to watch that, because that changes where the cut line is for the rest of the drivers. But man, it's so close between a lot of these drivers. It could come down to these stages here tonight, or this stage here tonight and next week, to build those points to help, kind of build that cushion for these drivers that are going to make it in on the points.
And it doesn't help right now. We got 2 minutes left here in practice. Some of these laps have been a little bit influenced by draft laps of drivers having someone else in front of them, giving them a little bit of pull. But the laps and the drivers that are ahead are looking mighty quick. And most of those drivers are behind Christopher Norris and could bump that 83, maybe that 38 machine out of our top 20. And again, like you said, Zach, that would nullify his victory, kick him out of the playoffs, and it would make everyone else that's in the top 16 breathe a little bit easier. But still, there are some fast drivers still looking for their first win. And I gotta say, tonight could be another night of a first-time winner, because we still have some heavy hitters. Trent Jump still doesn't have a win for himself. Brandon Colley still looking for his first win. And also that of Cody Reed, Cody Reed's coming off of a week where he has been feeling the hurt through Discord. Drivers very upset with the way that last week's Watkins Glen race, how that ended a lot of drivers' nights after their stage break. Tonight, looking for some redemption for that 25.
Yeah, he's going to need that redemption too, coming in here 32 points above that cut. So Cody Reed definitely feeling the pressure, I would say, especially after a tough week at Watkins Glen, where I think he expected a lot. I mean, going into that race, finished second the season before at Watkins Glen, comes back, does not have the qualifying result he wants, and I think kind of overpushed it from that whole time. So I think tonight he needs to start it off with a good starting position so he can feel comfortable from the start, try to go for those stage points at lap 70, and then from there, see what he can do in the final bits of this race. Because like you said, I think we could see a new winner here tonight, because there are so many good drivers still that have yet to win.
And also some reports coming in. There has been removal of a team. Limitless has been removed. The majority of their drivers are gone. Carl Pooler is the last to stay, as all the other drivers have brought up some controversial moments that the admins did not appreciate, and now are going to be removed out of this race. So that means, Zach, the field's going to be a little bit smaller, which is going to mean that there's going to be a lot of points that are going to be slimmer to grab tonight and going into next week.
That they are, man. The less trucks out there, the less availability for points to be difference between drivers. So we'll see how that kind of plays into it. The stages definitely help. That that one stage to give out those possible 10 bonus points for a driver all the way down to 1. Those really do help the drivers. So that'll help build up some points. But you're still going to have to really hope for something here if you're way out of that situation. So drivers here are going to be coming into Charlotte and expecting a lot here as they head into qualifying, because this is another thing about Charlotte. You want to qualify up front here, because these tires are very sensitive here. If you can qualify up front, you'll be able to manage your tires a little bit better.
Enough clean air. So nice to have. As qualifying is underway, drivers are given 5 minutes to put down their fastest lap of 2 laps. Now, you can invalidate those laps by brushing the wall or going into the grass, where two options could happen here if drivers push these vehicles to their limits and go a little bit too far. As you see there of Cody Reed starting his lap. Here's Brandon Colley, a driver that's still searching for their first win. And Zach, here tonight at Charlotte, a little bit different than last season. Last season, these drivers ran in that of the noon time of in sim. It was bright in the daytime. Tonight, we're starting to see that sun setting a little bit. These drivers are going to have a little bit more grip here tonight, expecting a lot more drama and flare and sparks to fly when the lights click on.
That they will. The speeds will pick up. Everything seems a little bit more dramatic at nighttime under the lights. So going to be cool to see here Charlotte, the home of NASCAR, under the lights with this truck series. And with Brandon Colley here in this 94, I'm interested to see what he can put down. I know he feels good coming into this race. This is one of the tracks that he had kind of circled, and he needs a good race to here coming in 12th in points tonight. So he needs some a good qualifying to start it off, but I think he could be a threat also for a possible first win here tonight with his speed he showed throughout the week.
As you can see on the left, our drivers getting their first time lap in, and it's going to be that of Jonathan Smith. His first lap going to be a 30.727, but that second lap's clocked in, and that second lap, a lot of drivers expecting more speed as Cody Reed tops the board.
That he does, and picked up, or actually, sorry, just fell off just a little bit of time from practice, but no draft help. That's a great time for him. We'll see if anybody can break through that 56 barrier. Nick Crawford storms through on his lap to run a 30.48. First driver we've seen break into that 40 bracket there. So great job by him. And it looks like Noah Steele too. Big qualifying lap for him. 30.53 per second.
We've seen this for Noah Steele for the last couple of weeks. Great qualifying times, but the finishes have not been there. He's been caught up in some wrecks. He's going to need a great qualifying here tonight, as well as a fantastic race as he comes in 21st in points. If he can crack the top 20 and get a win, this 8 machine could steal that of a position into the playoffs. As here's Tyler Dangler trying to finish out his time, but a little bit of blinking issues. That's been a trend for this 19 machine. He's hoping that that internet will clean up as we get to race time, as the first lap going to be a slow one, a 31.303. Dangler's really trying to save some extra tires here for this last lap.
Yeah, we'll see how much of a pickup he can have here, because, you know, some drivers do it to really just throw the first lap completely away. Some drivers won't do that, though. They'll be, you know, less willing to risk giving up that much time, but looks like they're in 3 and 4, just a little bit off the bottom. I don't know if this time's going to be the best, but we'll see a 30.81, so not too great of a pickup there. A good pickup from the lap before, but not picking up enough to put him up the board, as that's going to be P20.
And then coming across the line, it's going to be Mark Morales, who's just getting a little bit more of practice time in. And it's going to be 13th on the board for the 91. And here comes our last driver to put time down. It's going to be Isaac Shelley in the 98. Do have a report. Mark Whitley, pit road violations last week at Watkins Glen. The 77 will have to start at the rear of the field. As here comes Shelley after a fantastic run last week at Watkins Glen, hoping to find a little bit of that momentum to carry over here tonight.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out for him. He's been a road course ace this season, and not the greatest lap there for him. It's going to put him P18 there. So we'll see if he can find any time on that second lap where we've seen people pick up. So that's possibly a good first lap. We'll see what the second one can produce for this 98. But yeah, Mark Whitley, he's going to be fun to watch come through the field. And you know, I said Nick Crawford was only driving around a 30.4. He did it in practice too, because I didn't see him down there. So it'll be fun to watch that 77 try to charge through.
So much speed to be seen, and drivers going to be all throughout the field as Isaac Shelley crossed the line. Was 18th on that first lap. We'll bump him up to 5th. The 98 finding that little bit of extra speed, and in our top 5, got to be 11. That push that he had there late. As qualifying's coming to a close, qualifying sponsor is going to be the Laugh Lap. Hey, if you'd like to go to Instagram, look up the _laugh_lap to go find yourself some great racing and comedy videos on that of Instagram. Also great memes, all great racing fun. The Laugh Lap, your qualifying sponsor here this evening for the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. And as well, big thanks to that of the title sponsor of this series, Race Car Graveyard. If you're looking to go become a diecast collector from that of 1/24th ratios to that of 1/64th ratios, they've got new, used, and custom schemes that you can go get today. go to Instagram and look up Race Car Graveyard, as well as use the promo code RCGY to receive 10% off on your next purchase. As drivers starting to grid up, qualifying's done, it's time for us to see how that of this race for 150 laps is gonna go down for the Have a Great Race 225. And taking the top of the board, we saw the lap time. It was quick, it was spectacular. Nick Crawford gonna get your pole this evening. Noah Steele gonna take second, with Brandon Colley gonna be in third, Cody Reed fourth, Isaac Shelley taking fifth, but Trenton Jump gonna be in sixth place. Logan Breakey takes seventh, eighth goes the Nolan Hicks. Kyle Rochelle gonna be in ninth, and Cedric Hunter expect to see the 13 move forward, but he'll start in 10th.
In the 11th position is going to be the 00 of Ethan Smith. 12th is going to go to Ryan Ferraro. 13th is going to be GT Irizarry. 14th is going to be Martin Morales Jr. 15th is going to be the 31 of Danny Cochran. 16th position going to go to Jonathan Smith. 17th is going to be the 5 of Dakota Manise. 18th is going to be Kerry Trabu, and then we'll have Robert Hattenback starting 19th, and then Eric Stamp rounding out our top 20.
21st is going to be that of Joshua Freed, with Tyler Dangler going to be in 22nd position. The driver we're going to talk about a lot tonight because he is on the bubble of missing out on the playoffs. Christopher Norris going to be in 23rd. Carl Pooler is going to be in 24th, with Gregory Smith 25th. And starting all the way in back in last with a qualifying penalty, the 77 of Mark Whitley going to be the last driver here this evening. 26 trucks ready to conquer a 1.5-mile course here at Charlotte Motor Speedway for a Have a Great Race 225. And here we go, Zach. It is time for these drivers to make their statement. We've got tonight and then next week to see 16 drivers are going to make the playoffs. It's crunch time. Who's going to make it forward?
That it is, Sam. This is time to get it done. This is, 2 races to go. This is rolling off the grid. The nerves right here at the most for these drivers. And there's going to be some very nervous ones. And I think you brought up the most there, 23rd, Christopher Norris. He's got a lot of work to do in that 38 machine. He needs to put himself in a good position tonight to go into next regular season finale and try to have some good points.
And this is our new wall of drivers. We can have up to 8 different cams up at the same time. And you see Spider-Man up there in our top left. That's going to be Nick Crawford, who keeps on evolving on the different schemes he's running. And I got to say here, Zach, certainly a lot of different drivers we have here. We've got Logan Breakey, Christopher Norris, Mark Whitley, and many of others that we've seen throughout the season that have been running different camera schemes for us to be seeing their point of view while racing. But it's time to see how these drivers can get this restart going. And for 150 laps, first stage break is going to be at end of lap 70. And we race it to the end. And Zach, your final thoughts before we get to green flag racing.
Well, I'll tell you what, lap 70, it'll come quick. These drivers need points. It's going to be a wild battle, I think, here to start this thing off. Nick Crawford up front in the 4. Let's see who can pull it off, though.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the penultimate race. Who's making the playoffs? Well, tonight and next week we'll set the stage, but it's time to have a great race. 225 as we are green here at Charlotte. Nick Crawford gets a little bit of a bump for the 94, and the Ford machine's already clear heading down into turn number 1.
They're going to drop down into the second position as they head off into turn 1. And you're going to see here everybody trying to paint the blue line here as they head out of turn 2. Noah still holding on to second, but the battle between Cody Reed and Brandon Colley rages on down the back straightaway. It looks like Trenton Jump, though, trying to position himself.
And Trenton Jump's going to be the driver in my eye to watch out for. The 46 last season dominated this race, but did not find himself in victory lane. He led 104 laps of that of 150, and that 46 only got bumped out, got some damage, wasn't able to finish out the race in the way that he wanted, but he didn't have the competition that's around him now. Nick Crawford going to be really pressuring to see how he can perform here tonight. And Zach, we've seen the Ford machine and other vehicles perform well here at Charlotte. It looks like he's trying to do a similar thing here tonight.
That he has, man. Nick, and another thing you brought up is, this is a track that is very common for everybody. This is a free track on iRacing. Everybody owns this track. Pretty much everybody grows up racing on this track, pretty much iRacing. So, you learn a lot of basic things that carry through from truck to truck and car to car. So I think Nick Crawford using a little bit of that here tonight. But it looks like that battle for third still going on as Brandon Colley cannot get the run he needs, but Cody Reed able to hold on to that top groove.
And because the battle for third can't clear, open contact, Cody Reed, Brandon Colley, and a little bit of disputing racing contact carries over from last week into this week. Zach, once again, Cody Reed and Desert Snow cannot get away from one another.
Yeah, it looks like I don't know if Reed was turning down just a little bit earlier than maybe what he thought the 94 was going to, but just that contact to the door, and that's not what those two need. They do not want any damage on this truck. This caused a huge stack up and has allowed these top two to get away, still side by side down the back straightaway. And I think that 94 looks like he's suffering from some damage as he's dropping back.
And now they're going to be finding themselves almost 3 wide as Cody Reed's going to go all the way up to the wall. And here comes Trenton Jump, stealing any position he can. Not able to clear just yet as Cody Reed's going to put the block on. That's boxing in the 46 to stay side by side once again, and even almost more contact between the 46 and the 94.
Yeah, and you got to remember, too, up for Trenton Jump here, it was that 25 who took him out last week. So I think he might have some thoughts on his mind about the 25 machine also. So Cody Reed probably not feeling the warmest of welcomes here to start the race, but he knows after last week some drivers are going to be a little bit upset with him.
And now the pressure is going to be on even more because, if you've got a target on your back like the 25 does coming into the night, it's not very hard to make sure that, drivers are going to be right on your bumper. They're going to push you around. They're going to bump you and ruffle your feathers. It's about how much mental fortitude you have for this 25, and can you keep your head on straight going through this night knowing that you're going to be bumped around a little bit more than everyone else.
That's very true, Sam. You got to keep your head on straight, because if you don't, you can easily get out of your own game, burn up your tires, just do a little bit of things that you normally wouldn't do, just to push that little bit harder to stay in front of those drivers that might be upset of you. But right now, it seems like Trenton Jump was able to make the clean pass. Now Brandon Colley once again trying to make that pass up there as Isaac Shelley and Nolan Hicks also battle right behind these two.
And they're going to be trying to see how they can clear this race up, as once again, Cody Reed, Brandon Colley, they're going to be side by side, and that big credit to the 25. He's got a major scrub mark on that left side of the 25 machine, but still keeping some good pressure as Noah Steele, we've seen this week after week. He's been quick on the first qualifying lap, and he'll qualify well, but that hot lap does not translate well to this racing condition.
Yeah, it's interesting. Some drivers, it just seems to go that way, man. Some drivers are able to really get the most out of it right when the tires are at their coldest and right when they're really at the hardest point to drive. But then some drivers really like when the tires come in and it takes that longer run to build up the pressures and really get into their own zone there. And seems like Steele kind of struggles in that area. But right now, if he can do a good job, save his tires decently, he could be able to make a charge back here maybe later in this run.
As they slowly start to make their charge forward, the battle for the lead also going to be pretty close between themselves with Trenton Jump, Nick Crawford. Jump not really able to make any type of passing moves, mainly because Nick Crawford is in such a defensive line. He is sticking to that blue line and not letting anyone even get close to getting underneath him. Yeah,
you took the words out of my mouth, Sam. He is painting the blue line, and that's the key here at Charlotte. If you don't get down to that blue line, you let the driver behind you get the cleaner air, and it really allows them to get the better turn than you, because there's just so much more grip right against that blue line. And I think we've seen it last season, Trenton Jump, how dominant he was here. I think it was only a matter of time before he got up to this, position here to be battling for the lead. But we'll see what Nick Crawford can do this for to try to hold him off.
And really, the only reason that Trenton Jump didn't find himself in victory lane was after contact between himself and the driver that would win last season's race here at Charlotte, of that of Thomas Green. Green no longer racing this season, so Trenton Jump is going to be the heavy favorite to watch out for until you look at the list of drivers that came back or are making their rookie season. Nick Crawford, one of his rookie seasons, the first time running here. You've also got Mark Whitley coming back. That 77 machine we know is quick. He's only been able to move up, though, up to almost 10 positions here in the first 11 laps, but he's about to stall out, mainly because the tire wear factor, Zach, we touched on it. It is difficult once you get to a certain point during this race. Those tires just don't allow you to really make any more passes.
Yeah, I think Mark needs a plan for getting his, this. I think if he lets this run come to him and doesn't push it too hard and doesn't try to go out there and take too many spots here too early, I think he can start to make up more spots the later this run goes on, but he's got to stay patient. He can't try to go make it up in all in 1 second, because if you do, you're going to overheat those tires, and it'll be making it even tougher. But up front, the battle for the lead is on. Trenton Jump has finally dived to the inside, and Nick Crawford, though, now finally off that bottom groove, going to try to defend it, and I think he does a good job there just holding him down as he's able to hold on to the spot.
Talk about mile-and-a-half racetracks, the ways to defend, Zach. I mean, Nick Crawford, we talked about him painting that blue line. Well, he just did a picture-perfect defensive lane driving there on the high side.
That he did. That high lane is preferably the place to pass for most drivers. It's so much easier to pinch down the driver. And what we mean by pinch down is you hold them down to that blue line, and especially where it hurts you is on late exit. When you can't let that wheel out from that bottom lane, you cannot carry the momentum like you can. So drivers on the bottom lane, you'll see them fall back on the straightaway where they don't carry that momentum on that bottom lane. That outside groove will really get that run off the corner.
Deeper in the field, we get to see the battling for 10th place. It's going to be that of Danny Cochran, Cedric Hunter, GT Rizzari, and also Ethan Smith all in the fray in this group. And points, again, mattering so much for these drivers. But the ones that really you got to think about is Jonathan Smith running there in 14th place. He's just on the back bumper of this group. 72 machine. He gets to crack the top 10 if he wants to start making a push to push Dakota Moniz out of our top 16.
That it really does. It's all about stage points sometimes. We know how critical they can be. Even 1 point could come back to be the difference that this 72 needs. And we'll see what he can produce. And even drivers like GT is already there in the 14. I mean, 24th in points. But if he can get into the top 20 and get a win in these final 2 races, that would be huge for him to make the playoffs. So it's not out of the question yet. But man, oh man, the battle right here is definitely a little bit dicey, as now you're going to set the car back to the inside of the 14 as he got to run out the outside of this 0-0.
And you're going to be seeing that 13 machine as we're running on board with Ethan Smith. Seeing the battling side by side. Great shots of where you want to place yourself to go as GT Rizzari and that of Cedric Hunter almost make contact. Gets clear, dives it down low. Danny's now going to be trapped as Cody Reed, the 25, kind of being the blocker. He's so slow out there. He's a moving chicane at this point with the damage that he has right now.
Yeah, the damage not helping one bit at all, and I think his tire is not feeling the greatest either. That damage will only make the tire condition worse. You lose downforce. The less downforce you have, the more the truck wants to slide on the racetrack, which equates to more tire wear. But they're going to be 3 wide here off the exit of 2 as you're going to have Cody Reed up top, Danny Cochran in the middle, and then you'll have Cedric on the bottom.
Cody Reed rocking that Cody Ware scheme, and he certainly is not having a day that he wants. Kind of what we see from Cody Ware himself as they go 3 wide squeezing, and somehow the 25 stays out of the wall again. Woo, they are getting frisky up here and certainly almost throwing this one away. But Jonathan Smith, who should have stayed attached with that of Ethan Smith, he drops back. He didn't like what he was seeing and now doesn't have a clear opportunity for the 72. He falls into trouble with that of Brian Ferraro and Mark Whitley closing in.
Yeah, he's got teammate Mark Whitley coming up too, so he knows he's going to have a quick driver like that coming up behind. Might be losing a spot there too, but man, that did get dicey there right on the fringe of that top 10 area for those stage points at lap 70. So drivers already showing the aggression here, but we'll see now. It's going to look like Jonathan Smith. He's going to have Ferraro in the 12 looking to his inside along with Mark Whitley trying to make the run around the outside. This is going to open up the door for him. This is a perfect opportunity.
To the outside, hoping to get a good run. He's going to get that draft toe from his teammate Jonathan Smith in 72 as Ferraro's going to just have to fall in line. But he's got to be careful. Dakota Moniz driving right behind the 77 that we ran on board with. He's now going to be trying to follow in the tire tracks of the 77, but gets pinched and almost into the wall.
It was so close for that 5 machine. That could have been detrimental for the rest of his race. He doesn't want to go out there and get damage on these trucks because so high speed here at Charlotte and these trucks so low in the horsepower category that any type of drag or loss of downforce here is just going to be such a penalty for you. So you don't want to have that scenario play out for yourself, but Moniz here trying to hold on to that spot as he will now as Ferraro settles in.
And we talk about damage and how important it is, mainly because these drivers do not have a fast repair. They don't have a safety net underneath. If they get damage, they're going to have to come to pit road, wait for that damage to get repaired, which some of these contacts could be anywhere from that of 5 seconds to that of 30 seconds of damage, or even more than that. That could put you more than a lap down. So drivers got to be consistently aware as whipping up in the wall. Going to be that of Nolan Hicks. He's going to be losing multiple positions, and some great bump drafting action from that of Steele and Shelley.
Yeah, that it was. And now you got Rochelle also coming into the picture in that bright high letter 21 machine. And just like that for Hicks into the wall in one moment, loses 3 positions. And right there now, Steele, who was trying to take a spot from Brandon Colley, he's now under attack from Shelley. Is now Danny Cochran. He's going to try to make the move on Logan braking, and Ethan Smith's going to try to follow him through.
Again, these are drivers that are battling to stay inside of the top 10. Danny Cochran's 9th That of Logan Brakey is 10th, and this is such an important pass for Logan Brakey. He cannot afford to lose this position for himself. He comes in 20th in points. He needs a good points day and a potential lucky night if he's going to find himself into the playoffs.
That he does, and he's got a tough track coming up too. His National Super Speedway. That's kind of an unknown, I think, for a lot of these drivers heading into that track. Is it's a very tough concrete surface, and right now, behind Brakey, he's also got the 13 machine in that 00 battle, and it looks like Cedric Hunter going to power around the outside of that 00 there and take that opportunity there to try to now go up here and get the 29.
And Zach, I mean, for Logan Brakey, this has got to be a little bit nerve-wracking for the 29. He's a driver that, you know, these points so important for the three drivers that are racing so aggressive around him. All three of them have wins. They're all practically locked into that of the playoffs. So they're racing their own having fun game, while the 29 is having a complete different mindset.
Exactly. These guys got nothing to lose right here, racing around Brakey. Brakey has everything to lose. I mean, we've seen earlier in the season, he couldn't get away from the lap 1 wrecks. So it really put him in a big hole that he's been trying to dig himself out of. And he had a good run here at Charlotte last season. So I think coming here, he had a little bit of excitement built up, especially off a good run from Watkins Glen. But now, going to have Cedric Hunter underneath him, he's going to be looking to maybe possibly take this final stage spot from him. Still nearing 50 laps from that stage, so a long way to go, but Brakey not liking this.
Our stage is at the end of lap 70, as drivers even in front of these ones are getting side by side, as well as Brandon Colley, Noah Steele battling for 5th place, as well as going to be GT Rossari and Nolan Hicks are getting side by side. And GT Rossari, we touched on it, a driver that's deeper in the points, needing a good points day here today to try to crack into the top 20 in the point standings for a win to be eligible. And I got to say, going into National Super Speedway next week, concrete course where we've seen the 14 be phenomenal at. And I think next week could be a race circled up for the 14 to be that last driver to steal a spot.
I think you're exactly right, Sam. I mean, he's ran great at Dover. I think it translates a little bit, in my opinion. I think it suits his style. He's a long-run style type of driver. When it's high tire wear, GT seems to shine. And even tonight, right now, I mean, he is really moving his way through the field right now up to that, it looks like now up to that 7th position right behind Brandon Colley. So already from 13th, that 13th starting spot, he's looking very, very strongly. So Cedric Hunter and Danny Cochran racing hard right there behind that 86 and Nolan Hicks.
One more inch lower, that 13 would have hit the apron, and Danny Cochran would have found himself going up into that outside wall. Giving a little bit more space to the 13 is that of Hicks and Cochran. I think they're recognizing Cedric Hunter's got the mindset if he wants to get up front as quick as possible. But Zach, we're still plenty of laps away from getting to the end of our stage break here at the end of lap 70. We're inching closer and closer to pit stops, which I believe you've got a range that we're looking for.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You know, lap 70 here again for the stage, but we can go almost 50 laps on fuel. So drivers are going to have some options here to go a little bit longer than what I think some will do. I think some might even do it at the lap 35 point. They might get aggressive here knowing they need stage points. They might hit pit road a little bit aggressively. So we'll see if that all plays out. But man, I think pit stops really around lap 40 to 45 are going to be that prime area for a lot of drivers up front.
As it's going to be deeper in the field, going to be seeing that of the 38. This is Christopher Norris that we see on screen, as he's going to be deep in the field, all the way back in 23rd position for himself. We've got a couple of other drivers pretty deep in the field as well. Carl Pooler, Gregory Smith, and Tyler Dangler all very off the pace from our leaders. But at the same time, they're starting to click in some quicker lap times. But they're so far back, it's almost like they're trying to play a dangerous game of give up plenty of time to save tires. Maybe they're saving a little bit too much.
Yeah, it could possibly be that, Sam. You know, sometimes you can get into that as a driver where you just do a little too much to save, and it can end up really coming back to bite you as you give up too much time. And then when you go to push, it's just kind of over from that point where a driver's almost into their pit sequence. So it's tough as a driver to time that all out, but it'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out tonight. And you know, another thing is interesting, I think we've seen some drivers battle, especially battling back here, but you see the green banner there, I believe, on Cody Reed, and I think that is for the MoCast 5, I believe they're doing here tonight, is they have Christopher Norris, Cody Reed, Cedric Hunter, Kyle Rochelle, and John Forbes as the 5 drivers battling for, I believe, $25 at their top 5 in Atlanta.
Yeah, and it's all about if one of those drivers win, they get the cash. Now, if they don't, none of them win, nobody gets the money, so they've got to make sure that they keep those noses clean. comfortable for Cody Reed. Going to be set back for himself. As you can see here, that is Cedric Hunter. The last couple of laps has been the fastest truck on track, which, gotta say, with how aggressive we've seen the 13, not surprised with how fast he is. Almost contact from that of GT Rosari into Steele. They'll hold on for now as they get single filed out, but certainly a scare as you look in the mirror. There is going to be the Harpoons Design 77. Mark Whitley cracks the top 10.
Yeah, he is charging up through, man. Like I said, if I felt like he was patient, he waited a little bit here longer to make his moves. And that's kind of what he's done here. He's slowly let this come to him. That 77 is doing exactly what he needs to line himself up to have good track position when we get to that lap 70 stage. He might not be able to go up here and get the stage win. Yes, he's within 3 seconds of the lead. So, I mean, there's still time to get it done necessarily, but I don't think that's the goal. I think the big thing for him, get to that top 5, get to that top 3, and set himself up for the end of this race, because he very well could be looking for that win. But look at Cedric Hunter going to the outside of GT Rosari. Now no one's still also up ahead of him. I think this was the 13's game plan. I talked to him. He said he was going to save a lot of tire, and it seems to be coming back around.
And I think he's kind of getting a little bit more stalled out, though, because of the side-by-side racing between Steele and GT Rosari. It is clogged up the 13's momentum, and he used up so much tires in trying to set up for the passes. Now he has got to be a little bit more patient as the 77 is closing in on this battle.
That he is there closing in as he looms in the background as he's gotten by Danny Cochran in the 31, and also I believe Ethan Smith making the pass on Brandon Colley there for the final spot in the stage right now for our top 10 drivers. So looks like Cedric Hunter finally will get to the outside there. Nolan Steele, and that's going to really help him there as he'll try to power to the outside here off the 2. And I think GT's got the same idea.
If there's any way to get by, it might be having to go on the outside, as there goes the 13, and here comes the 14 following suit. As also pit road stops are underway. A handful of drivers starting to come into pit road. A lot of them deeper in the field. That of Eric Stamp, Nolan Hicks, Logan Brakey, but here comes a cluster of them into pit road, and hold on for that Trenton jump.
Oh, that was a big moment. Him and the 98 Isaac Shelley. I mean, Shelley just got in there so deep on the brakes, lost the rear end. And, I mean, they almost even got in the back of our leader, Nick Crawford, who I think was being a little bit more less aggressive, not trying to make a mistake. But they made up some time on him here, though.
Zach, I re-looked at it. Isaac Shelley got some rear-end damage from the 21 of Kyle Rochelle. Didn't hear the reports of drivers hitting pit road and just clipped that of Isaac Shelley. That's why the 98 came in with so much speed.
Oh, that is a huge moment for that 21. You do not want to have damage on the nose. And personally, looking at his nose, it's not too bad looking from myself, looking at the view I have, but it still should affect that truck if you get any type of nose damage. So looks like Cedric Hunter, though, here battling with that 21 now. Is this going to be GT and Mark Whitley as we got these guys in the top 4 if they've not yet pit.
Some of our biggest movers are cracking up front after green flag pit stops are underway. Still our top 12 needing to come to pit road as we are 37 laps, make it 38 laps into the night's run. Stage break is at the end of lap 70, and that's where a lot of drivers are going to be playing these mind games. How do you want to set up for this late charge for stage number 1? This driver that's on the move and continues to be, that 77 Mark Whitley, is on a tear. Our biggest mover of the night, up 70, that of 22 positions for the 77.
Yeah, he is flying now, and I tell you what, he was flirting with the wall there too, down there in 2, and he goes high here to let GT go into pit road that time. So GT is going to hit pit road in the 14 machine. And tell you what, I was watching the 3 that came in as our leaders. Nick Crawford let him down with Isaac Shelley and Trenton Jump right behind. Nick Crawford led him off pit road, but then Trenton Jump got to the lead, got loose, and then Isaac Shelley somehow got by both of them. And then, I mean, it's just a crazy battle with how pit road sequences shake out.
Flip-flop between those 3, with also Nolan Hicks going to be involved with the phrase you hit it earlier. But up front, still waiting on Cedric Hunter, Kyle Rochelle, and here comes the 13 and the 21. It's Mark Whitley, stays out for an extra lap. Same for that of Ethan Smith. And those two going to be going for a gutsy call for themselves, as Tyler Dangler, who's going to be deeper in the field, he's got some lap traffic that might hold up the 19, as he'll stay out for an extra lap as well for himself. And right now is bonus point time. If you're staying out, you're hoping for bonus points and for a late yellow.
That you are, Sam, and I like this strategy. We've seen how much some drivers have, really fell off in the longer runs, And I really like this strategy from the 77's camp here to take it a little bit longer, stretch it out, because he knew he had to come from so far behind that he needed to stretch this out just a little bit longer to have that advantage here later. Now he will give up time, but we'll see how much he'll be able to make up here when he hits pit road. But going to be getting passed by these drivers, unlapping themselves here, as this will be the battle for lead when it all gets shook out.
When he all cycles through, will it be that Trenton jump, Nick Crawford or Isaac Shelley? And Crawford, this is one of the first times that he's truly had to worry about dirty air. As we hop on board, you get to see the driver cam rocking the Spider-Man suit once again. Also having some fun with this green screen like he's had for almost every single week. As we are 42 laps into this stint. Again, end of lap 70 is our stage break. Still 3 drivers needing to hit pit road. Staying out a little bit longer is the 77 0 and the 6 and that of the 19.
Yeah, this is stretching it longer than I was kind of expecting. I felt like right around 35 would be the aggressive point, and that's where I think a lot of drivers really that were aggressive when we're farther back kind of hit pit road. Then we kind of had a few trickle in there around 37, but I think Mark Whitley taking it in the halfway point right here in lap 42 of where I was saying earlier, about 40 to 45. So I think this is a good area. We'll see how the 77 can make up time with those new tires.
And I'm not surprised by seeing the 19 staying out. Tyler Dangler, again, he really is going with an odd strategy. He's been really off the pace. But for the 19, he's hoping that he can at least lead a lap and get a bonus point that way. But his troubles are being thrown away with Ethan Smith staying out for another lap. And we'll see if he comes in this go-around, as each lap is going to be costing more and more time. Because here comes the 0-0 into pit road.
Yeah, and that's going to be music to Tyler Dingler's ears. So he's going to love for that to happen, because quickly Trenton Jump is catching up to him. I'm about only 10 seconds behind him is that 46 now, as the 19 is going to come out of 4 here. Don't think he'll get this lap, because I think Ethan Smith's going to get just across the start-finish line with the lead, but next time around he should be able to lead that lap.
And now Tyler Dangler's going to be in a tough spot, because there's plenty of drivers that are going to be trying to unlap themselves, and Tyler for sure 100% is going to be going a lap down once he comes into pit road. Ethan Smith might be in a very similar strategy here of going a lap down with staying out as long as they did. And that just means that you're going to be in a troublesome spot if the yellow comes out later on.
Yeah, that they will be. And, this is tough for Tyler, too, because, he gave so much time in the early part of the run. It's going to be interesting to see where, when he hits pit road, where does he cycle out, and, how far will he be behind, and how he will most likely be a lap down for sure, but will he have enough time to get back on that lead lap? We'll have to see. But Trenton Jump here looking good, as he was able to cycle ahead of Nick Crawford through those pit sequences, and I think that's what the 46 needed, was some clean air.
And as these drivers continue to race this one out, the 19 finally hits pit road as lap 45 is about to come to a conclusion. Start of 46. As the pit cycle goes all the way through, Trenton Jump leads the way with Nick Crawford right behind, with Isaac Shelley going to be in that a third once the cycle goes completely through. And Zach, now's the interesting thought. We saw, from our point of view, watching from an outside perspective, of how much Trenton Jump, that of Nick Crawford, and also Isaac Shelley were battling around one another. We still have quite a bit to go. We're coming up to that. We now are in the 25 laps to go marker for these drivers to make it to the end of this stage. Now the question is, how much of those tires did you truly burn up?
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is as last run we kind of had the yo-yo effect. I saw Nick Crawford kind of open up the gap in the beginning. You had Trenton Jump drive up to him, challenge him for a little bit. Then Nick Crawford opened it back up, and then actually the whole pack kind of closed up. Isaac Shelley got really fast in the 98, and the 46 started to close that back up to Nick Crawford. So this will be interesting to see, as Isaac Shelley's dropped well back off of these two. Can he start to close in as this run slips away here to at lap 70 stage? So it'll be interesting to see, but we also got these group of drivers who pitted a little bit later also on the fresher tires.
And we see here for that of the battle for fifth, Logan breaking no steal. Brandon Colley. Colley was very much on the weaker end on the long run. And he also had that contact with Cody Reed that did not help this 94's real challenge. While the 8 of Noah Steele, I mean, he's probably the biggest one of those yo-yos that we were talking about, of going back and forth on how well those tires were being. And he'll move up to fifth, but will he fall back to the clutches of that Cedric Hunter, who's now on the back bumper of these drivers right now?
Yeah, that 13 is on the move right now, as he's going to be coming up to the back bumper of the 94 as he gets past Logan, breaking out for that spot. And it's going to be a quick pass there for this 13. I believe his fresh tires are going to really help him out as the 94 of Brandon Colley coming into pit road a couple laps early.
As you see, this group of drivers is the battle for 5th, all the way back to 11th place in this group. And Kyle Rochelle thinking about getting right underneath that 31, and he will be right behind the 14. They'll go 3 wide. It's Logan Brakey says, I'm getting out of this. This is not where I want to be. And he'll fall right behind this group.
Yeah, wild moment there for coming off of 4. Brakey saying, I don't want to be involved in any types of wrecks, so he backs out of that situation and lets the newer tires go by. But Kyle Rochelle, the same set of tires as Cedric Hunter, as those two look to charge through this pack here. I think GT pitted 1 lap earlier than him.
That he did, and with that 1 lap, gonna be feeling the pain now, but certainly able to hold off Colley as well as the 21 of Kyle Rochelle and Danny Cochran. As you see on our ticker board, those are your stage points that we're looking for in the blue top 10. Get those stage points that are so crucial at this point, especially for Noah Steele. He needs every point possible. He comes in to be first in points, and still with that of Anthony Gaudio and the 3 not showing up here tonight, gives a complete opening and a wild card shot of who could crack into the top 16 after tonight.
That's very, very true, Sam. That's going to open up the door for a lot of different things, and in Nashville Super Speedway next week will also open up the door for some more opportunities for drivers that some people miss. So we'll see how that shakes out, but looks like Isaac Shelley here, he's still about 2.4 back. Is actually Nick Crawford, I believe he's took the lead around the outside.
Just came with a head of steam. That last lap was 4/10 faster than Trenton Jump, and then with ease making the pass through 1 and 2 on the outer groove, and they'll start to pull away. Talk about overusing those tires. I think Trenton Jump did that, get in the lead, trying to pull away from the 4. And the 4 said, hey, go as far as you want. I'll come back and catch you and make the pass easily.
So impressive, and that's tough to do as a driver when you lead the majority of the laps, you lose it coming off a pit road through the sequence. You're kind of kicking yourself saying, man, why did I just mess that up? I gave up everything that I gained in that first portion, but he didn't. He kind of sat back there, let Trenton Jump go out there, burn his tires up, and now has driven himself to the lead. So great call from there. And look at this, Tyler Engler in the 19. He's coming up to him. He needs to unlap himself because he does not want to be getting that lucky dog where you'd have to restart the tail end of the field, but he's in 26, so he would anyways.
Yeah, he would still be there. It'd more so be the fact that he wants to make sure he's ahead just in case they, at our stage break, he can try to gain positions once they make their pit stops at that of the end of lap 70, where we're expecting to see that yellow flag come out for our stage break. Could that be the first yellow? Well, time will tell. But hey, if you're looking for clear indications on when the yellow comes out, you'll find yourself with an iRacing iFlag with the best iFlag virtual flag system out there, as you can get great information that can help you out with where people are on track with the yellow, as well as you can go grab yourself a digital pit board, give you great information such as the weather temp, track temp, and also your fuel usage for 5 laps and how many laps you have left. Go over to iRacingIFlag.com to go get yourself some great products. When you're purchasing, remember to use our promo code FreakyFast2022. Get yourself a discount code today. As the drivers are ramping around, inching closer and closer to the end of the stage, as it's going to be Nick Crawford, Trenton Jump, pulling away and kind of in their own world, battling for inside the top 10, still there as GT Rizari giving the bump and run into that at turn number 1.
That he was, and man, there goes Kyle Rochelle in the 21 machine. So great little bump that shoved him out there, and he uses that momentum to get away and try to now go get Nolan Hicks here in this 5th position to break into the top 5. And Rochelle really having a great closeout to this regular season and building himself some momentum heading toward this playoffs hopefully. Yeah,
and Kyle Rochelle, he's been bouncing around that of the middle of the points for those that are inside of the top 16. He's tied with 10th with Eric Stamp in point standing. So 21 just needs to keep on finding that momentum as Danny Cochran trying to find his stride. I mean, he won back at Las Vegas, which that was kind of a redemption race for the 31 after purposely wrecking Trenton Jump a season ago, and it's kind of been a recovery run ever since then. And got to say for Danny, right now, trying to figure out how to follow this 77 who's on his own rampage going forward with the freshest of tires out on the track.
Yeah, I think Mark here really enjoying that advantage on the tires, making clean, easy passes now on that 77. And the question I think for him, 5 seconds back, don't think he'll have enough time again to get all the way up to that lead position like he was probably wanting to, but he will definitely, I think, be able to break into this top 5 and maybe even that top 3.
We saw there going in the entry of turn 1 a little bit of a checkup by the 77. The closing rate a little bit faster than he was expecting on a GT's bumper. Had a tap on the brakes. Luckily didn't make any contact, but here comes GT giving the bump to the 77. And gotta remember, if you're gonna give a bump, center up those noses. Do not hit any quarter panel or you're gonna be spinning that driver in front of you.
That you are, and I tell you what, Sam, we'll see how quick a work Mark Whitley can make of this 21 here as he's going to look to the inside, but Kyle Rochelle opening up that door, but not fully opening it fully up, as now the 77 going to get the nose there, but I think not the run he was probably looking for there, but he's still going to be able to get there. So great job by Mark Whitley there as he gets this pass done. Isaac Shelley right ahead of him, really struggling, major damage on the right front as he's gotten into the wall.
He's gotten into the wall. He's also on some of the oldest tires out there, and Mark Whitley's going to have to throw it down the inside, and here he goes, making a 2-for-1 on this lap, getting by that of Kyle Rochelle. Now Isaac Shelley and up to 4th. The next driver that the 77 has in his track is going to be this 13 Cedric Hunter. And Hunter, I mean, at the pace that he's going, with 10 laps to go on the stage, the 13 might be able to try to catch up to Nick Crawford and Trenton Jump to make these passes for winning this stage.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. I was watching the lap times here click off, and right now he's looking pretty strong, about 4/10 almost quicker than our leader, a full 4/10 faster than Trenton Jump. So he should be able to get to Jump pretty easily, in my opinion. But it's going to be tough still to get to Nick Crawford here with the amount of laps left with that gap. But man, he can't look too far back too, because Mark Whitley, as soon as he gets, once he's gotten past now Kyle Rochelle, he's going to have some clear track to really put some great times in.
Yeah, that clean air is going to be a big thing to watch out on the gap between the 13 and the 77. But at the same time, we know Cedric Hunter, as long as he can get another car in between himself and Mark Whitley, he's going to be good to secure that positioning, as both of those drivers already have their wins. They're good to where they're running. It's really, you look at the drivers that are instead of top 5, it's only that of Kyle Rochelle and Trenton Jump looking for a win for themselves to feel locked in and comfortable heading into the playoffs and just find momentum really for both of those drivers, as Nick Crawford's already found himself into victory lane back at Bristol. Will he find himself into victory lane again here at Charlotte for another spectacular run? As you see, drivers gotta be careful with where they're battling. It's gonna be back here for that of 15th and 16th. It's Dakota Moniz and Kerry Tribute.
That they are, and tell you what, they've got a pretty sizable gap back to the next driver behind them, who's kind of the one on the hot line and the hot seat coming into tonight, and that's the 38 Christopher Norris, because he's also on the hot seat now because he's got Mark Morales right behind him also. So, you know, no stage points to be earned here, so I don't think nothing too aggressive going to be going down between these two, but definitely Christopher needs to focus on trying to maybe find some positions later in this race that help, you know, his situation, because he does not want to be heading into Nashville Super Speedway next week with only an 8-point gap back to 20th.
And, you know, we always go back to some of the past races where stage points were kind of thrown away for that of Christopher Norris. And we were so upset during those past races of trying to be confused. I mean, you got the win at Atlanta. You need to build up your points gap. And for this 38 machine, it has just been a spiraling circus for the 38 on how the regular season's been ending. And it's not a storyline we like to call, but Christopher Norris needs to find some momentum here this evening if he's going to find himself making it into the playoffs. Otherwise, that win will be null and void and just have no meaning except for congratulations, you got to win this season.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there, Sam, and that's a tough situation to be in for him. So much excitement getting that win, but it all may come with some disappointment too if he does not end up getting that playoff berth. So we'll see how it plays out for him in these final two, but tonight in Charlotte, nowhere near the stage points that he was looking for.
As the drivers continue to race this one out, 5 laps to go here before our stage break is done. The end of lap 70 is when the yellow flag will be thrown, and you see the drivers in blue on our ticker. Those are the drivers aiming for stage points. Top 10 get them. If you win the stage, get 10 bonus points. Get that 10 to get 1 bonus point. If you're not in the top 10, you get 0 at that marker of our stage break. As we have been caution-free all night long, and Zach gets rid at the top of the broadcast. 70 laps can go in a blink of an eye, and they certainly have it, as we have had one that of pit stops, green flag pit stop cycle go through. So we're getting ready for the stage break yellow to be thrown.
Yeah, it really has, man, and it just shows you if you make a few mistakes and just push a little bit too hard like Trent Jump did, you can quickly be dropping back here in Charlotte. So I think these drivers have learned a few things here in stage one. I want to see now who can implement what they've learned in the stage one. I think that is one thing that drivers, I feel like don't do well enough is learn from their mistakes. And if you can do that here, you may be able to change your fortunes, as we see back there. I think on the back straightaway, GT Rizari and Kyle Rochelle battling for position.
Kyle Rochelle trying to hold the best that he can, but the strength on the outside goes to the 14 GT Rizari. Here he comes on the exit of the corner, and the 14 will find himself clear and taking 5th place on where they lie. As other close battles that are on track, well, that's going to be battle for second. Mark Whitley, we were keeping on track for it. He has closed it in even closer now for second place.
Yeah, I mean, to have started from where he did at 26th position, the very rear of this field, to be within a second here to end this stage of the leader, this is just so impressive. And I tell you what, I think it's going to probably even strike a little bit of fear into these top two up front, knowing where Mark has come from, and right now making the big move to take second here on this final lap of the stage.
Final lap of the stage, as going to be seeing that Nick Crawford, Mark Whitley, Cedric Hunter. Hunter's on the outside. He's going to be able to hold off for a little bit, but the tire strength goes to the 77. Just 2 lap fresher tires. And showing his strength for now as the 4, Nick Crawford, through 3 and 4. The stage break winner here at Charlotte for Have a Great Race 225 goes to the 4 machine as he crosses the line. We wait for the top 10 to cross the line for themselves before the yellow flag comes on, as the battling continues for second place. But that of Nolan Hicks crosses the line and takes us to the stage break.
And it was great stage here to start it out, and I cannot wait to see what we can have for the final bit of this race. Mark Whitley is a man on the mission.
That he is, as drivers that needed bonus points grab them for themselves. And a lot of these drivers get to reset and see how the second half of this race is going to go. There's no more stage breaks after this, but we do want to give a thanks to the stage break sponsor at Larry Art Productions. Head over to YouTube and look up Larry Art Productions, or even on Instagram. He's got great variety of videos, entertaining, and just comedy genius that you can go find yourself getting some good laughs and put a smile on your face today. Go head over to Larry Art Productions, our stage break sponsor, here this evening. As our top 10 drivers, you see them on the board. It's going to be Nick Crawford, Mark Whitley, Cedric Hunter, as well as GT Rizari going to be your top 4, with Trent Jump taking 5th. Kyle Rochelle's going to be in 6th, Danny Cochran 7th, 8th going to be Noah Steele, Ethan Smith 9th, and Nolan Hicks going to take that 10th place position here at the stage break. Well, you've been watching the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. We're going to go side by side. We'll be back for more racing action in a few. Stage break is done. It's time for us to race it to the end for Have a Great Race 225 here at Charlotte for the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. Nick Crawford gets roaring, but he had a little bit of a stall out. He missed shift. The 13 takes the lead.
Big moment there for the 4, and we saw him give up the lead to Trenton jump through the pit sequences. He's got the fight back once again, but his teammate Cedric Hunter jumps out to the lead. I think he's going to try to lend him the draft as he's side by side with the 77 Mark Whitley, but not getting the pull he wants. Is Whitley going to have that outside groove? We'll see if he can have the speed, but Nick Crawford power move into 3.
And going to be seeing the speed just ramping up as drivers trying to get everything. And Danny Cochran almost throws it into the outside wall. Danger for the 31 as he just overcorrects. And now very much under speed. Watch out, here they come. Hicks needs to get on the brakes. He'll do so as, oh boy, a lot of checkup incidents happening under green, but even worse happened under yellow.
Yeah, great point, Sam, because really we've seen a pretty clean and pretty calm race, I feel like, for a majority of the night, but pit road just changed everything. There was major incidents heading down there, a major checkup from up ahead, and some drivers that took some major damages. That 29 Logan Brakey, I mean, Ryan Ferraro, he got completely knocked out of this race from that deal. So crazy moments there on pit road.
Beto Moniz also extreme damage for the 5. He had to come into pit road under green flag racing just currently as drivers ramping their way through. And the one driver that we were throwing out, well, he might be going a lap down, having some major issues. Tyler Dangler's up to that at 13th for the 19 machine.
Yeah, all this chaos, it's really helped that 19 machine, man. Great thing for him, and also great for Christopher Norris, who's up to 8th. So, I mean, there's drivers all around that need this. Jonathan Smith up to 9th, Martin Morales up to 10th, Joshua Frieden 11th. Everything there on pit road kind of opened up the door for those drivers in that outside that top 15 area to kind of move right into that fringe top 10.
And now the battling's going to be happening for drivers just inside of our top 10. They are getting mixy. Christopher Norris is going to be seeing Jonathan Smith, Noah Steele, drivers that are behind Christopher Norris that are trying to crack into the playoff picture. They're now going to be trying to make some big moves, as they're going to have also GT Rosari, Ethan Smith side by side. They've almost made contact, and here comes Kyle Rochelle and that of the highlighter machine trying to get by the 77 Mark Whitley.
Oh man, this is creating a little bit of a stack up here as you got Mark Whitley now stuck on this outer groove. You're going to see Nick Crawford pull down low. He wants to keep those two side by side, utilizing a little bit of a draft. Ethan Smith, he's liking this as he's gotten himself up into the top 5. But man, Cedric Hunter, really no let back from him. He's kind of opened up a gap.
He is putting down some of the fastest laps of the race so far. Mark Whitley and Cedric Hunter are the drivers that have put down the fastest laps of the night if you look at the best laps so far. And right now, the 13, he's got to give all the praise to Nick Crawford, who's probably making some enemies at this moment. Heavy blocking by the 4 onto that of Kyle Rochelle and Mark Whitley.
Yeah, and he's really just doing just enough to stay in front of him. You can see right there checking up in the middle of the corner, and I think he's really just managing his tires. But right there, those drivers almost running in the back of him. They're going to have to jump to his outside here if they want to go around him with him that slow in the center of the corner. But now Whitley, with that checkup from Rochelle from Crawford, he's able to get back to the inside. So he really takes advantage of that there in the 77. And look at this. Now Rochelle back to 4th.
If you're trying to make the pass, you call the 4 a pest. But if you're the 4 machine, you're just racing defensively while saving tires to make the charge back at Cedric Hunter. And we've seen this in so many different leagues where drivers sometimes go out to major leads and gaps, but then they fall back because the tire wear just gets too much. Cedric Hunter, I'm curious, he's now got fresh air to work with. We've seen him be some of the fastest machines in the middle of the field. This is going to be a great picture for the 13 to see if he can try to hold on to this maximum speed that he's going for, but slowly inching back is Nick Crawford to the picture for the lead.
Yeah, I think that lead gap, like he's opened up like that, is only going to hurt him. It's tough to say. He should know as the driver's the battle for second heats up with Whitley trying to go to the inside of Crawford here. That's going to be news for, or really nice for Hunter in that 13 as it looks like the 4 holds him off, but now Crawford, or the 77 looks to go back to the inside here, down in the 1. So racing hard behind him, and I think that's going to help the 13, but it's tough to really save the tires when going that fast.
You're also seeing a lot of slashing going on. That's from the 00 of Ethan Smith. He'll get got by that of Kyle Rochelle. Now trying to aim on how to go after the 77 of Mark Whitley. And again, we're seeing some drivers, different entry points. That's changing up how the center of the corner looks for these drivers. Some with a high arcing entry, others going straight down to the bottom. But honestly, it's looking like the drivers that are arcing it kind of being hindered by those that are getting a much higher apex point and kind of blocking those that trying to stick on that blue line.
You seen there, Whitley tried to get to the outside of the 4. Now the 4 throws a little block, throws it back to the outside. And yeah, I think at some point they might get a little fed up with that. But as soon as Whitley jumped to the outside, I think Crawford picked his speed up. So I think he's saving, but not trying to go up second. This is such a tough balancing act as a driver, but he's now going to have Whitley to the inside. And this is what you want as a driver if you're trying to hold somebody back, kind of. You just kind of sit on that door and try to hold them back. But I think Whitley driving in deep there, but Crawford looked hard on the door, and they are not letting each other get that quick. But now look how much they're closing into that 13, even racing side by side.
It's so bizarre. Usually when you see drivers side by side, you're losing time, but at the current moment, they are pushing so hard on these tires with the 4 machine and Nick Crawford on the outer groove, Mark Whitley on the inside, as both of them are pushing so aggressively. They are catching up to Cedric Hunter, and now we talked about that first stint that the drivers had before green flag pit stops. We talked about the yo-yo string action there, Zach. I think we're seeing a little bit of that now with Cedric Hunter because he pushed out so far ahead. Now we can back off and save those tires on this go.
Yeah, interesting scenario here this time. And, normally Cedric Hunter wanted to usually save some tire. He went out there and used them this time. We'll see. Does he have a plan in here? Did he pull the gap now and went into management mode? Let everybody catch back up. A lot of questions still to be asked, but I'll tell you what, Nick Crawford, he is the toughest car to pass tonight. He is making it really, really tough in the 77, really making him have to use those tires if he wants to get around.
An update for drivers further on back. We talked about Ryan Ferraro under pacing, had to call it a night. With Dakota Moniz under green. He came into pit road. He will call it a night for the 5 machine, which for Dakota, that is a miserable way for tonight to go. He came in 16th in points. Then you had 15th in points, Anthony Gaudio not even showing up. It is a completely wide open on who's going to make it into the top 16 going into Nashville next week.
Yeah, this is going to make Nashville Super Speedway even that much more important for these drivers as they're going around Kerry Treby. They're putting him a lap down as he's under pace with that contact coming down the pit road. He's one of the trucks that was involved in that. So tough break for him. But yeah, it's it's going to be so close with these guys. Anthony Gaudio not being there, Dakota Moniz out of this race. This really helps the likes of Christopher Norris, who was 18th there. He might be able to gain some positions here tonight and position himself farther up that list and be farther from the top 20. So that's what he needs with that win. But could we also see a new winner who breaks into the top 20?
Yeah, that's the big thing to watch out for, especially with 6th place runner GT Irizarry. He is one of those drivers that comes in deep in the field. He is 24th in points, but he has looked fast here this evening. He's been keeping up with the pace of the 13 of Cedric Hunter and Mark Whitley. The only bad thing is he was in a bad spot on this restart. The 14 to the deeper in the field. To see here, Mark Morales in the 91. This 91 machine aiming for a top 10 finish, and that's got to be kind of the goal for most of the times when we see this 91, is he's battling with Jonathan Smith, who after tonight, Smith could find himself being that 16th driver into our top 16 going into next week.
That'd be a huge moment for the 72. He would love to see that gain that he's had so far on those positions up ahead of him, and he can continue to, be in this fringe area right around the 8th, 9th, 10th area. This is exactly what is going to be a perfect scenario for him heading into Nashville Super Speedway, where personally more of a short track style track that might fit a little bit into his style, as I know he's a short track guy. So looks like behind this group, though, we got Brandon Colley making the pass, but Gregory Smith there, he's racing with Tyler Dickler.
And this is the pack of drivers, some heavy damage, some just slow on pace. And Brandon Colley involved with the pit road incident. Same with Gregory Smith and Cody Reed and plenty of others that are back from 11th on back. All were caught up in that incident under pacing that, I gotta say, it's a rarity to see when you're under pacing coming into pit road, drivers running into one another, but that's exactly what happened. And it is a struggle when you've seen this race be clean and green. The only yellow was at the stage break, and now drivers have to limp these trucks around to the end of this race.
Yeah, a lot of them have rear end damage, but mostly a lot of them also have front end damage, where it was front end and rear end contact on, with that huge accordion effect that happened there coming down the pit road. I'm really unsure where it all started from. It's always tough to say. You got some drivers that'll speed up on the entry of pit road, then slow down to that speed, and you got people trying to catch up to them. It kind of creates those scenarios. So unsure how it all played out, but I think some drivers are going to be definitely angry looking back at that scenario where they're saying, man, it's just pit road. Why we got to be doing something like that there where it could be hurting their playoff chances.
We talk about at super speedways all the time, visibility is the hardest thing when you're following directly behind someone else, and I think that's exactly what happened. I mean, visibility, especially for a lot of these drivers, hard when you're right behind a truck in front of you, and sometimes you don't know when you're supposed to check up. There's no brake lights to indicate when someone's hitting their brakes, and that's exactly what happened under the P scene and under yellow when we were under commercial break, as a little bit of contact happening there in the back of the screen as some drivers certainly trying to make their march, but for second place, finally a pass has been made there. Mark Whitley up to second, and now gets to try to make his charge forward as Nick Crawford no longer is defensive line. He'll drop quickly to fifth.
Yeah, they were racing side by side down into 3, and Whitley almost clear of him, slides up the track just a little bit, makes a little bit of contact to Nick Crawford, but just had to get his elbows out because he has just been racing him for so long. I think he finally said, I got to make this pass, and Nick Crawford going to look immediately back to the inside of Kyle Rochelle saying, man, I didn't want to lose that many spots, but luckily for him, no damage. It looks like he needed those trucks.
And as we continue to watch this, we want to give an update of the middle of the field, that of Trenton Jump, who's involved in the incident, heavily damaged with the 46. He gets even more damage. You can see on the left side, just got body slammed by that Joshua Freed in the 96. Freed gets to carry on, but the damage continues to mount on Trenton Jump. Charlotte, a track that he feels so strong at, but the luck of surviving this track is just not there.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 weekends where you see this 46, really, have a really good race for him coming up, and it just not all play out to his fruition. I mean, last week was such a dominant run. Unfortunately, contact on the restart there after the stage took him out of that event. And now tonight, it was looking so good to start off, but it just seems to have all went sideways after getting contact there on pit road, and then not only that, but some more contact there from Freed here.
And for that of the Season 2 champ, he still has plenty of points that's going to allow him to stay up there inside of our top 16 and going to be pretty comfortable going into next week. But obviously for that Trenton Jump, he's going to need some more help going into the playoffs, because one bad week could knock you out of the playoffs in an instant, as we are closing in to the final little bit here of our 1/3 marker of this race. Cedric Hunter still leading the way. Mark Whitley losing ground. Still some great battling in the middle field that we keep our eyes on as Trenton Jump, that of Brandon Colley. Now they're going to be battling with one another.
Yeah, Brandon Colley, not tonight. He's wanted qualifying third. He's got that contact from the pit road incident. Also, an earlier contact for him and Cody Green that started this race battling early in this race. But going to make the pass there on Trenton Jump, who's just struggling for speed after that contact, and he's just going to try to hold on for something here. But luckily, for his sake, pretty well off when it comes to points.
That's going to be the big thing, being well off on points. The whole season is mounted to this. This is race number 12 of Season 3. And for the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series, big thanks to all the sponsors that help out this series for us to be able to broadcast week in and week out. Another sponsor got to give thanks to is LP24 Clothing. LP24 Clothing, great affordable prices and great quality. On top of that, if you want hats, hoodies, t-shirts, or beanies, hey, you can go check out as well on different colors and sizes. Go to LP24 Clothing on Instagram to find more information. Get your order today. And hey, if you can't find the best clothing at LP24 Clothing, guess what? Here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we also have our own clothing line. We've got ourselves t-shirts, hoodies, and much, much more in different colors, sizes. Go over and look up that Freaky Fast's shop to go make sure that you can get the best clothing out there from the best broadcast team out there as these drivers continue to race it out.
That they do, Sam. And while everybody's checking out that great merch that we got, you also can go out there and look at yourself a brand new button box, and that is the admin box. Not only does it give you most button boxes out there in sim racing, give you the driver functionalities out there, this button box also gives you admin functionalities to be able to control a race and really have race control right at your fingertips. So make sure you head on over to adminbox.com and use our discount code at purchase there as FFB/BOXX, and you can get a discount when you purchase your admin box to have that race control at your fingertips and some great racing going on back there.
They certainly are, as we continue to see the drivers up front, second, third, and you see them stacking up. That's the battle for fourth. Nick Crawford still struggling with his tires. GT Rosari, that of Kyle Rochelle, trying to figure out how to get by this four machine. And Noah Steele in seventh, just latching onto the rear of this pack, trying to hold on. But for us up in the booth, we're going to have to take our final commercial break. We're going to go side by side here this evening as you've been watching the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. We're going to take you to the end after this one. We still have green flag pit stops underway. We're still going to be seeing who can make it to the playoffs. And one driver could be finding their first win of the season potentially. Or could they find another one? We'll see you in just a few. Following, they're wrecking, they're splitting, and it's a complete mayhem.
We have a wreck at the front. 19 goes down into the 7, takes out the 00.
They're 5 wide behind for fifth. Oh my, the 5 wide here, this ain't gonna work, is it? They're already wrecking into turn 1, and now coming through that of turn 2. This is it, the Daytona. Oh no, the wrecking contact. Let's get into the wall. Gonna be scattering on the outside. Drivers on the apron. Drivers coming out of nowhere. Edison on the outside trying to get the win. And it's William Edison stealing it at the line.
Into the wall. The 18 trying to block. 77 get into the 18. That leaves 3 of TJ Roberts. 17 to Gavin Rogers. 3 of TJ Roberts is going to steal the win here.
But second fiddle so many times last season. Christopher Wade wins the season 5 Daytona 200. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to that of a Have a Great Race 225 for the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name's Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. We got Robert Moyer running productions in the background, and this is where the cluster is happening. 3 wide, and the reason why, you got drivers just coming into pit road. Pit cycle is underway, and Ethan Smith just got held up for about 2 laps there, Zach. Those tires, he pitted 3 laps ago, but they might be null and void with how much of a gap he was hoping to have over everyone else.
Yeah, he got very, very aggressive with his pit there. Pretty much took it on the very edge of that, the zone. And right here going to be interesting to see how much it equates to when he all cycles through. But I think you're going to see these leaders possibly take it to around 120 here, maybe even a little bit earlier than that. But I think in these next 5 laps, you're going to have a lot more drivers deciding to peel off through the pit road.
Starting to see some peel in just right now. Kyle Rochelle as well as Noah Steele going to be making their pit stop, as up front still Cedric Hunter and Mark Whitley. That gap continues to stay at 1 second. Really, Mark Whitley is trying to close in, hasn't been able to do so, but still watching the battling going on between the 99, 96, and the 94, the 90s, 7 through 9. They continue to race it on, but as well in front of them, starting to see Nolan Hicks, Jonathan Smith, 2 drivers. For Smith, he cannot afford to be caught up in a mistake, and he is forcing the issue currently right now as GT Rizari issues for that of the 14 coming into pit road. And that's not what he wants to have. He locked it up and slid into the pit entry.
Yeah, I think he made slight contact with the wall, but had to reverse, and that was the biggest issue, is had to completely reverse, and that is a major loss of time. He's going to need some type of yellow to help him get back in this race here for a good enough finish to help those point situation, because remember, he needs to get himself inside the top 20 if he wants any hope of a win transferring him possibly next week.
Well, he needs to get into the top 20 of points and get a win. And tonight was looking promising for at least an amazing finish inside of the top 10, if not even close to the top 5. Now looks to be just trying to stave away with a top 15 at this point, as major drivers have been having to call it a night after some contact under the stage break back at lap 70. Danny Cochran, Kerry Tribute, Isaac Shelley, Dakota Moniz, and Ryan Ferraro have all called it a night as Cedric Hunter hits pit road for that of the 13.
That he does. Leader hitting pit road. Mark Whitley, he's going to elect to take it longer. Remember, he did this last time before the stage ended, and it very much worked very well for that 77 as he gained a lot of time on the drivers up ahead of him. We'll see how much longer he elects to take it, but Cedric Hunter here going to be taking this 13 straight out of his box here. We'll see. I think Mark Whitley, he's not going to waste too much time. He comes the next time around.
Comes into pit road, he'll lock it up and somehow get it straight. But again, you can easily throw this race away with coming into pit road too fast. But Zach, the pit line seems a lot deeper than most other pit road stops.
Yeah, actually getting onto this pit road is probably one of the most aggressive pit roads. And I think that's why you see actually drivers do make mistakes here, because you can carry a lot of speed. It really opens itself up for trying to be aggressive. And like you said, that line's so far back that you can really push it right to the extent. But if you lock up a brake, that's where the issue happens, and that's what GT Rizari ran to. He locked up the rears, most importantly, and that turned him right around on the entry of pit road. So trying to be aggressive can help you with time, but sometimes it can come back to backfire on yourself. But Whitley, he's exited off the pit road now as Crawford continues to stay out, but still, Whitley did a good job there through the sequence to be not that far behind Cedric Hunter.
And for Nick Crawford, this is an interesting call by the 4, because he was one of the earlier drivers that pitted under our first green flag pit cycle back under stage number 1. Now deciding to stay out a little bit longer, which makes sense. He burned up these tires a lot trying to defend his positioning for second place during this most recent restart after our stage break was done. Now the 4, trying to make sure he's got the freshest of tires to finish out this race, as we still have a handful of drivers still needing to hit pit road. The most recent one that just did, Freddie Colley, who the 94 heavily damaged, but at least is trying to, again, a lot of these drivers caught up with a lot of damage under our stage break coming into pit road. Everyone's stacking into one another, and with all that damage, drivers just trying to make it to the end at this point, as we've already lost 5 already.
That we have, Sam, and I tell you, it's going to be, I think, a little bit more of an interesting run to see how that 77 and that 13 speed plays out, because we saw how hard his teammate Nick Crawford was racing those guys up there, and I think that allowed Cedric Hunter really, after he opened up that gap, to really save his stuff again. So, you know, he does have the advantage of having a bigger gap here this time to start the runoff. But man, I tell you what, Mark Whitley, I think he might be able to change something up. But Nick Crawford here looks like coming to pit road.
Into pit road, aggressive and hoping to hit his marks, and he will do so for the Ford machine. Not caught speeding, and now it's going to be that Robert Hattenbach going to be leading the way, the 99. Not much of a driver that we call out for leading races. Still out there trying to go for his first out of top 5 this season. The 99 machine kind of just out here trying to go for top 10 finishes. That's the goal each and every week. But man, you always hope that something can luck into your favor. And at this point, caution would be fantastic for the 99.
That it would be, and he doesn't want to be in there as the 77, 72 of Jonathan Smith there. Ran up on him pretty quickly on those fresher tires. And yeah, I tell you, Hattenbach, he's just enjoying being out front right now, getting some laps led, getting those bonus points. And like you said, Sam, this is something for him to build on and, you know, learn from experience here at this track. And, you know, I think, like you said, if he does catch a yellow, this would be a huge moment for him, because it really put him in a good scenario where he's used one less set of tires also than everybody and would have a no-brainer here to come down the pit road.
As that of Robert Hattenbach as well as Trent Jump over the radio, both going to be coming in pit road, and this will be the end. As oh no, Hattenbach does the same exact thing as GT Irizarry. Here comes the 46 into pit road. Got to be careful they don't make contact, luckily, but a scary situation for both.
Oh, same exact scenario like you said there. So, yeah, tough break. Just got a little bit too much rear brake possibly in that truck and got in a little too deep and quickly goes around. And tough break for him, but luckily, like GT2, didn't get too much of the wall, so just had to reverse and lost a lot of time other than that. So, tough break, but when they all cycle through, going to be interesting to see where this is all played out. But Ethan Smith with that major undercut, he's got the lead. And how much will he hold this 13 back?
Not for long, based on how the lap times are looking like. There's got to be a major drop-off for Cedric Hunter as he has been climbing quickly, almost a full second each lap for the 13. Once again, another close-in moment. He might even be able to make the pass on entry turn into turn 3. As here comes Cedric Hunter, the 00 gets closer and closer, and that in a blink of an eye. Hello Kitty. Say hello to the lead as they're trying to also find themselves getting by Trent Jump.
And here he goes quickly to the inside and a power move with those new tires. They're going to be able to take that lead, but Mark Whitley, he's not too far behind, one lap fresher tires. I haven't noticed he's been running some very, very quick lap times, so I think he's been pushing very hard to close this gap down. I think Cedric Hunter here might be trying to manage his stuff here.
And that's exactly what you're looking for, is just to be banking off. How far do you want to be racing against one another? But Zach, we always got to throw it back to the drivers that try to do the overextend and that overcut of staying out as long as possible. The 4 machine, he's back in that of 13th. Going to make pass for 12th. Caution flag comes out. Eric Stamp brings up the yellow.
Oh, man, he was on his roof, and I think Jonathan Smith is going to take an unfortunate hit too in the 72. Man, this is going to change the whole complexion of this racing, especially for drivers like Nick Crawford, who stretched it out longer.
And gonna be a massive wreck for the 53. And if you get motion sickness, this 53's wreck is gonna be a twirl, as you're gonna see that of Noah Steele, the 8 machine, trying to get by that of seeing the 53. And I mean, Zach, right along, this is going to be a wild one to see for Eric Stamp.
That it is going to be. He's on this outer groove, and Steele's going to be down to his inside. And when they go into the corner, Eric Stamp's going to turn down into the corner and just going to get that left rear tapped. And you're going to see from there just the tumble in motion as he went head first to the wall. And that blue blur was Jonathan Smith pretty much just phasing through him. Luckily, I don't think he got any damage, but luckily for Stampy, ended up on the tires, but this is going to be major damage for the 53.
Required damage flag was given to that of Eric Stamp, who's going to have to take the tow to pit road. And with that, his race could be over. And Zach, the most dramatic timing of a yellow flag to come out, because it's going to be less than 20 laps to go when we go green. And some drivers going with some strategy calls. Logan Brakey staying out.
Well, this is a gutsy call here from Logan Brakey, and we'll see how that works out for him. He didn't have, a crazy amount of laps on the tires. Had about 5 laps total on his tires there from where he pitted. So we'll be able to, I think, fire off here pretty decently. But I think those new tires guys are going to be looking to quickly make a move, as looks like Cedric Hunter did win the race off of pit row with Ethan Smith there coming off second. And that undercut for Ethan Smith, this has come back to really help him because, he was running really in that fringe of the top 5. Really, with that undercut, he's now put himself in position to win this race also.
Curious for Ethan Smith if he saw that Logan Brakey staying out and decided, you know what, instead of taking the lead, I'm going to, if Logan Brakey had come in, I wonder if Ethan Smith would have been thinking about taking 2 tires, especially with this track, the way that it's been tightening up on the longer runs. We've seen the 2-tire king of Ethan Smith try some more riskier plays, but 4 tires, he'll take it nice and safe on this go.
That he will, and this is going. That I think that could have been a play. I mean, it really possibly could have been a play that I think someone could have implemented, but maybe they feel that start of the run is where that loose sensation does seem to kick in. I've seen a lot of guys have some pretty snappy situations down in 3 and 4 on the colder tires, but I think that's even why you see these guys here. You can see Mark Whitley and Ethan Smith. They're trying to get as much heat, and Noah Steele even, as much heat built up into these tires to be able to fire off as well here because they know how valuable clean air is.
Clean air has been a key. Logan Brakey, though, is going to be one of the drivers that was heavily involved with that stage break yellow. And this is the first yellow flag to come out that's under green flag conditions. And Zach, the 29 has some front end and rear end damage. And being on older tires, this is looking like a recipe of another quick yellow caution flag, breeding out another caution flag.
It very well could be. I think, the biggest thing I think for him here is, I believe, if I'm correct, I believe most of the drivers don't have a set of tires on pit road now. Most of them won't. So Logan Brakey will, I believe, be sitting there with an extra set here, technically over everybody. But will that extra set come into play here if we get a caution? That's going to be the question. I think that might be his gamble.
I think if the caution flag came out with 30 laps to go, and then everyone comes in, uses that final set, and then you stay out, get about a 10-lap run in, and then another yellow flag comes out, then you're set up in a better positioning. But we're going to be with 20 laps to go when we go green, going to be less than that. And you're going to need other drivers to be about 5 laps into usage. Then a yellow flag comes out. That's only going to give you, if the caution flag runs and comes out at that perfect timing for the 29, it's going to leave him with 10 laps to try to carve his way through the field. That's a difficult task to do so, as that of Robert Hatback going to be getting back onto the lead lap for themselves. Going to have 20 drivers on track, ready to get rolling. The oldest tire is going to be on that of Logan Brakey. 7-lap disadvantage to the rest of the field. And Zach, it's going to be 19 laps to go. We go green. And you always say, don't want to bank on a yellow, but that's exactly what this 29's doing.
He definitely is, yeah, because if it doesn't get a yellow, he is going to fall like a rock through the field. It's going to be tough to hold everybody off. I mean, pretty much the only thing he can hope from there is to finish in 20th, which is the last car on the lead lap. So we'll see how it shakes out. Final 20 laps, man. He does have that extra set. He needs possibly to get a win, to get himself into playoffs. So I think maybe he thinks maybe his only shot, especially with a damaged car. So we'll see, but this is going to be crazy because he's got this damage here, these older tires. How well will he fire off, and who's going to take advantage of this 29 here?
As the drivers side by side, ready to get rolling, as have a great race 225 presented by Color Teal Graphics, have really shown this race can stay pretty clean and green. We've had our first yellow now of an on-track incident. It's time to see, will we stay green to the end, or will we get a quick yellow as Logan Brakey gets a fantastic launch for himself? He's already clear as Cedric Hunter finds himself side by side for second place.
Down here in the 1, what will the 29 speed level be? But look at Ethan Smith driving hard, trying to get to the outside. He slides up the racetrack, and Cedric Hunter is going to lose out here, as now the 77 also takes that spot, and now Ethan Smith going to look to take the lead.
And going to be able to take the lead, as that Cedric Hunter's going to have to go 3 wide. Can he get back into the throttle? Logan Brakey pushes up into the 77. They squeeze 3 wide on the exit of the corner. They hold for now as Ethan Smith feels comfortable, confident. He'll lead coming to 18 laps to go.
If 3 lanes are there, take them while you got the new tires. The 13 goes to the wall, and he looks to make the move to hold on to second, and then loose out of turn 2. Those cold tires not firing off well for these drivers, holding on to every bit of the grip.
Luke Diaz, and here comes the highlighter. It's going to be seen that also going to be Logan Brakey trying to hold himself, but Noah Steele going to be going to the outside for the white machine. But Kyle Rochelle, how will the 21 retaliate? As here comes the push, the two fastest trucks all night long. It's that of Cedric Hunter, Mark Whitley, side by side for second. Can the 00 defend for 17 more laps?
Yeah, this is what the 00 loves to see, the trucks that have been the fastest.
Whoa, contact!
The contact!
And just
Major.
like that, send him in the wall. He's going to be all right and moving forward, but too much damage to keep himself inside of the top 10. Hunter out of this race. Now Mark Whitley, can he recover? He's going to lose about a half a second to the 00, but now he'll have the charge. But was there too much damage from the body slam for Mark Whitley to retaliate?
Oh, man, that was a huge moment. Big loss of time there for the 13. He's going to be well out of position, way back there now, falling behind Jonathan Smith, and that was just an awkward moment and a lot of damage on that right front. But Mark Whitley, he's going to try to hook the fire back off. Luckily, I think for his sake, no damage really on that 77.
Don't look now, but a driver that made a mistake fell deeper in the field. Here comes GTR Azari in the 14. He was about that of the fourth or third fastest truck all night long. He's got a lot of work to do. 15 laps to go. Ethan Smith, he's got to defend over Mark Whitley, but will Noah Steele be a hero here tonight? Remember, he's one of the drivers that's right outside of the top 20 marker. If he can find himself in a victory lane, he could be pushing himself into the playoffs.
That he very well could be, Sam. This is getting interesting the more and more laps that click off. But you look at this, Brakey still fighting back here in this 29 with those older tires, but it's going to be Jonathan Smith. And now Nick Crawford, he's trying to fire his way back up there. Remember, he really suffered taking that late pit. It's really took him out of position here up front, but now trying to maneuver his way through.
And Jonathan Smith, again, was that blue blur that ran into Eric Stamp, but luckily did not have to take any damage, as we're seeing some of the other drivers cycling inside of our top 10, in our top 5. But up front, it is going to be that of Ethan Smith trying to defend over Mark Whitley, as this is battling back to 4 drivers trying to crack into the top 10. That's the 6 of Gregory Smith getting his great charge for himself. That
he is, 25th up here to 10th, and getting past Logan Brakey there now with them fresher tires of his, and a little bit loose there for him on that almost on the apron, so holds on to it. But a great run for him. But man, can Ethan Smith for these final? There you see it, Brakey back to the inside. But can Ethan Smith in these final 13 laps hold him off? As they're going to be coming to 12 to go. I think Whitley, he's going to have every chance here to try to make something happen.
Tries to deke low, gonna deke high. He's trying to figure out where to place himself at this current moment. He's gonna be right at the quarter panel, gonna try to work on the outside. He's got the tires to make this work. Can Ethan Smith get back into the throttle quick enough to defend for the lead? Here comes Mark Whitley to the outside. He's gonna get the run. They're gonna be drag racing into turn 3, and it's Smith holding for now. Whitley on the outside, but as they continue to stay side by side like this, here comes the 8 machine of Steel.
Yeah, Steele loves this. He's saying, man, you guys go and race, maybe make some contact that allow me to go up here and try to put myself in the playoffs. This would change a lot of drivers' situation heading into next week in Nashville Super Speedway. Can Noah Steele drive his way up into the position? That is the question as he watches the battle up in front of him.
Now he's got to wait and pick. Which lane does he want to work with? Now, Steele, we've seen this 8 machine. He's overcooked the tires in that first go. But has he learned throughout this race, throughout the 140 laps here tonight, has he saved enough tires to try to battle for the lead as our leaders continue to stay side by side? It's going to be Ethan Smith, Mark Whitley. That last go, cross the line, give it to Ethan Smith by that of more than 1/1000th of a second.
Man, oh man, it's definitely heating up. Ethan Smith almost closure, but there's Mark Whitley into the wall. And just like that, Noah Steele up the second now. Rochelle looking to the outside of the 77. Major mistake from the 77 machine. But
a lot of damage was given to the front bumper of the 8 machine after clobbering the back bumper of the 77. Does Noah Steele even have enough momentum? It's going to be that of 10. Make it 9 laps to go as GT Azari makes the pass for 4th place. Kyle Rochelle looks like the most promising driver to try to make the pass for 2nd and 1st, but it's going to be a lot of work, and you've got to be perfect from here on out if you're that 21 machine.
Oh man, it's all starting to really get into line here with 9 laps to go. who is going to be the driver that takes advantage of all these crazy scenarios that have played out here in the last final run of this race. And I tell you what, Charlotte is turning out to really be a great ending here, especially for Steele, who's trying to go up there and get the win. But Rochelle, like you said, Sam, I think he may be the one to watch out for. But if you don't look too far behind, GT Rizari's coming in the picture.
A bump, a little bit of a shimmy, and the 8 holds on for his positioning, but he's going to lose time to our leader, and this is where you got to play a little bit of play nice. Will we see Kyle Rochelle be willing to dump the 8 machine? But if he does that, he can lose a lot of momentum, even try to make an attempt on Ethan Smith. You've got to pick the right battles. With 7 laps to go, Smith's defended over that of Mark Whitley and that of Cedric Hunter. But can he defend the 8 and the 21? Or will it be GT Rizari trying to make the push?
GT diving to the inside. Rochelle coming in here tonight, 36 points to the good. Will he try to risk it here? This could be a great finish that really sets him up heading into this Nashville Super Speedway to have that a big enough gap to maybe lock himself in. But we'll see how it works out right now. He was able to get a good enough run off of 2 to be able to defend that run from Irizarry. But here comes Rochelle back at the 8 machine. But right now, Ethan Smith is just loving the scenes out front.
6 laps to go, and right now it is pretty equal between the speeds that are being placed for our top 4. The fastest driver on track of our drivers in the top 5, it's Nolan Hicks back in 5th place, but he's too far back to really make a charge as they're snaking on the backstretch. Ethan Smith tried every single tactic he knows to try to defend over the 8 machine, but Kyle Rochelle, the patience is running out. The 21 is recognizing if he doesn't make this pass now in the next lap or 2, his opportunity for the win here tonight could be snuffed out.
That it very well could, and I tell you what, these drivers are probably not going to want to like to see as a caution, because there's a truck that's really starting to make a lot of moves up through the field and showing a lot of pace. Nolan Hicks not only in that 86 showing a lot of speed, but the 4 not too far behind. You see him in the background battling with Jonathan Smith. He's starting to make his way up. He's going to need some type of yellow, though, to get himself up there. But with the way they're racing right here, you never know, it might be right around the corner.
And a little bit of a slip up there from the 21 of Kyle Rochelle. He's going to give an opening to the 14. Here comes Irizarry for 3rd place. Poke in the nose. He's going to be side by side into turn number 1. 4 laps to go. He's clear for 3rd. GT Irizarry. He was one of the outside looking in for the playoffs. He needs a perfect run. We thought it was going to be next week, but he says, let's give it a try, a whirl, a twirl. Could he find himself in victory lane? He's going to get by 2 more drivers, and Noah Steele's been defending perfectly, a half a gap over that of the 14, and he's doing a great job defending for now as Ethan Smith trying to get his 2nd win of the season.
So many possibilities still here available for all these drivers. The top 5 all very close, but Irizarry needs to make something happen quickly. Luckily, unfortunately for him, gets into the apron. It's going to check him up now. Rochelle with the run. This is what Ethan Smith and Noah still love to see.
And it's going to be side by side. Kyle Rochelle going to take that position, or will he? Will the run be for the 14? Gets back into the throttle. He's hoping to have the speed. He'll have the draft from the 8 as they come out onto the straightaway. 2 laps to go. And it's more so a battle of who's going to get 2nd more than the lead as Ethan Smith continues to gap himself away from the pack.
Looking for a 2nd win to tie Cedric Hunter with the most wins here in the regular season. That would be a big moment. Here comes Hicks around the outside, taking the 4th spot from Rochelle, who's looking to get a top 5 here tonight. But it's going to be the 00 looking to maybe get the white flag.
He's coming out of turn number 4, and he's loving the color that's coming from the flag stand. It's the white flag. You're right, Brad. A white flag up in the air. Ethan Smith just needs to hit his marks for 4 more corners, and Noah Steele too far back. He's going to be battling with GT Irizarry, but the 00, Zach, he had to fight, defend, and we thought maybe he was going to have to be tire strategy. It's just raw pace that he defended over everyone else.
That he has, but that battle for 2nd is so important too, because if GT can get as many points as possible in that 14, that allows him possibly maybe to point his way into the top 20 and have a chance next week at Nashville Super Speedway.
Out of turn number 4, have a great race for that of the 00. Ethan Smith wins at Charlotte. It's going to be side by side battling for 2nd, but Noah Steele holds on. GT Irizarry gets 3rd. Hicks was just too far back.
Man, oh man, that's a great moment there for that 00. He's going to love that he's got 2 wins to his name now. But I think the big picture here is Noah Steele came in here tonight, 22 points out of top 16. He finishes second. And then, yeah, GT Irizarry, 40 points out of the top 16. He finishes third. This is opening up the door here heading into Nashville Super Speedway.
And Christopher Norris falls all the way down to 14th. Zach, we'll touch on that a little bit more later on, but Norris could be going into the next race, the last race of the regular season, with a must finish in the top 5 if he wants to make sure he clinches, or he's going to need some bad luck from some other drivers. And the drama starts to fill up, but the one driver now with 2 wins going into our last race of the regular season, Ethan Smith, congratulations on your 2nd win. And this go around, it's got to be feeling good to win here at Charlotte.
That it does, Sam. He's going to burn it down. And, this only builds the momentum for this 0-0. He wants to, he's been the driver that's made the Final Four every single season here so far. This is momentum that could help get him back to that place to go get that championship that's got away from him.
We got to have fun watching that drama for the final 19 laps of this race. We get to talk to our top 3, that of Ethan Smith, as well as Noah Steele and GT Irizarry for our post-race show. We'll be back in just a few for our interviews and our final thoughts of the night. We'll see you in a few moments. Welcome, everybody, to the post-race show here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting for the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. As we've got our 3rd place finisher, it's going to be the 14 of GT Irizarry. GT, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. Congratulations on 3rd place. Man, what was going through your mind in those final couple of laps trying to get by the 8?
I got to get here and talk to Zach again.
Well, I'm glad to talk to you too, GT man. It's been it's always good to talk to you in the booth. One of my favorite interviews of all time for sure. Definitely, man. But I think heading into next week, I think you might have a good shot, man, because you're normally a very good driver when it comes to Dover. I think National Super Speedway can kind of be comparable there with the tire wear. How do you feel about heading in there, man? Because you are getting closer to that top 20, and a win, if you were to get in that top 20, could propel you into the playoffs.
I look forward. I told you. I mean, you know that. I mean, I look forward to all the mile and a halves, all the ovals. I'm good there, except short tracks and road courses. That's just not my
my deal. I can hold my own. But I was excited because hell, after we completed one lap, I was like, man, I made it twice as long this race as I did last race. I mean, I made it 0.5 of a lap at Watkins Glen, and we were wrecked out. So it's like, just whatever. It is what it is, man. I mean, points right now aren't on our mind right now. Just a W. I mean, we can get a W. We're good to go.
And a W you almost had here tonight, GT, going into the playoffs. If you don't find yourself into the playoff picture, how are you feeling about these last couple of races that are coming up as the season is coming to a close?
Um, I feel good about it, and I mean, just because I'm not in the playoffs, don't mean I'm not going to go out there and race these guys hard. I mean, hell, if the shoe was on the other foot, they'd race the hell out of me. So, I mean, I got raced the hell out of it. That's what I was talking with Noah down there. I mean, we raced hard, and you know, I don't mean whenever I say something to them, I'm not saying as in something bad. I mean, I enjoy the racing hard. I mean, I expect to get raced hard. It's fun, but if you accidentally hit somebody, squeezing you down, it's not intentional. It's just hard racing. And my point is, I hope the guy that's on the outside doing squeezing realizes that as well. But going forward to these other tracks, I'm good, man. I'm good. Again, we're going for the W. I think we're going to get one. I think our shot's coming. We've had enough damn bad luck.
I would say that you have certainly the speed to get it done, and we hope that it happens next week. GT, before we let you go, though, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
First off, Zach, Sam, Robert, everything you guys boy do. I mean, you guys do. It's amazing job, the professionalism that you do, and I enjoy watching it each next day at work. So I appreciate that. Appreciate the guys put on the league. Mustang Week for coming on board. ButtKicker for always being there. That's about it, man. You guys have a good night.
Well, that is going to be the 14 machine of GT Irizarry coming away with a third place finish. Congratulations on that, and good luck heading to Nashville next week.
Appreciate it, guys.
So we head from third place, we go to second place for Noah Steele. And this 8 machine, we talked at the top of the broadcast, it's so much raw speed out there, and you're finally there at the end, Noah. Congratulations on your first top 10, top 5 of the month, and of the season, and you also are in the podium. Congratulations. How are you feeling after that one?
Oh, it's awesome, man. It's been a long time coming. We've been so close and just had the worst luck, and it's just about time, to be honest with you.
Well, I tell you what, no, it was definitely a great run here for you tonight, man. I tell you came in here 21st in the points, man. This run should push you even closer to that 16th position in the playoffs. I mean, we had Anthony Gaudio miss tonight. Dakota Moniz had a bad run. How do you feel heading into Nashville Super Speedway next week, man? Do you feel like that is a track that could really play into your hand?
It's one of my best tracks, definitely. And I'm not gonna keep my hopes up. We're just gonna go out there and run our hardest, and hopefully luck's on our side like tonight.
I mean, it certainly was there, Noah. Talk about defending. It looked like you really had to work very hard there. You saw the incidences in front of you, but how was it trying to defend from GT as well as all the other drivers behind you?
It was I was trying not to block too hard. It was just honestly just sending it into the corner and just hoping the right front, stuck. I was trying to keep the temps down. I knew I was gonna wear it down, and I would always back up 3, which is why I would lose time and then just get the dirty air. I would just put dirty air on them, and it just bought me enough time, honestly. So it was definitely fun for sure.
Oh, it was a blast for us to watch up here in the booth. Congratulations again on a podium finish. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
I just want to thank my family for watching, thank the league for doing such a good job, and thank my teammate for sticking with me and having fun there. And thank you all for putting on a great broadcast and everything.
That is going to be the 8 machine of Noah Steele, going to be coming away with a second place finish here tonight. Congratulations on that, and good luck heading to Nashville next week.
Thank you, boss.
As we go from second place, we head to victory lane to a driver that's found himself here now for the second time this season. We got Ethan Smith with us. Ethan, congratulations on your second win of the season. How are you feeling after that one?
That was a very stressful last 20 laps. I knew I was going to have to put on my best performance to beat Cedric and Whitley, and that was some great battling up there. I just had to block, try to take their downforce away, and just do anything I could.
You said it, Ethan, man. What a great drive, man, there to pull off that victory. Just very, very tough holding off that 77 and a 13, and you were able to do it, man. I mean, second win this season, this has got to be a big deal for you, especially heading into next week at National Super Speedway, the track you won in season 1. I mean, this has got to be building some big momentum heading into the playoffs for the double zero.
Yes, I was really looking to have a good performance tonight. Last time we were here last season, I pit early and a caution came out and it trapped me a lap down, and I just didn't do that well. And I was fast here then too. And tonight I didn't qualify as good as I wanted. I was just patient. I stayed out there, just to get a lead 1 lap, try to get that extra point. And it actually ended up working out. If I'd have pitted another lap before, it probably would have been better. But I got 8th after that, and I was just knew that I had to be aggressive and I had to be in the top 3, and I knew I wasn't going to beat them after, passing some people. So I pit early, and fortunate for that caution that came out, and that really helped. That allowed me to stay second at the time, and I pit, and it was, hats off to Cedric and Whitley for racing, and Noah Steele behind me. He was trying to catch me. I was just a little too far out there. It was a great battle between Whitley. That was awesome.
I mean, Ethan, talking about trying to hold off on the pressure going into next week, that of Nashville Super Speedway. We've seen you win there before. How are you feeling confidence-wise heading to that track to finish out the regular season?
Really good. I'm pretty confident. I'm glad that it's a track that I am fairly familiar with, and it's the one that I actually got my first win at. But we'll see where I'm at and how it goes. I wasn't the best in the long run there, but I'm hoping, especially now I have more experience, and I'm hoping that that'll show more. And that track is so dependent on where you start on the race. So I'm hoping to get some good qualifying lap, and hopefully, be in the top 5 to finish at least.
Well, we can't wait to see how you run there. But for tonight, congratulations on your win. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
I just want to thank my teammate, Cody Reed. He was here tonight and didn't have the best race, unfortunately, but I'm glad he was here. John McAdam and John Forbes is with me in spirit tonight, so they had other stuff going on. The league, you guys for putting this on, and any friends, family, and anyone else that's watching.
That is going to be the 00 of Ethan Smith getting his 2nd win of the season. Congratulations on that, and good luck heading to Nashville next week.
Thank you.
As we head from victory lane, we take a look at the unofficial results, which a lot of shifting happening here tonight. Ethan Smith finds himself in victory lane, but a lot of fast drivers getting into contact, getting shuffled around. But it's going to be that 00 find himself in victory lane. And then first comers, got a couple of them here tonight. First top 5 to first top 10. First podium of the season goes to the Gate Machine of Noah Steele in 2nd place. GT Razari going to need to get a win next week if he's going to find himself into the playoffs. Nolan Hicks kind of in a similar situation. Kyle Rochelle good into points. But Nick Crawford, fastest driver of the night for most of the going. And had most laps led of the night, but going to come away with 4th. I mean, that of 6th. For the 4 machine. Jonathan Smith, fantastic run for the 72. Mark Whitley falls to 8th. Art Morales Jr. in 9th. In a first-time top 10 finisher, that of Gregory Smith in 10th place.
Yeah, what a great run there for Gregory Smith in 10th. And then also Carl Pooler there in 11th, man. Great run for him. Joshua Freed there in 13th. Those 3 great nights for those drivers, really working their way through the field. And then right behind them, you got Christopher Norris, who kind of, I think, is going to be in a tough position heading into next week National Super Speedway, where he's going to have to try to stay in that top 20 if he wants to take that win and in situation. Because if you fall out the top 20 in points, he will not make the playoffs. So that 38 has to make sure he brings some speed. But I think drivers like Logan Breakey back there in 16th too, not the greatest night for him. Cody Reed back in 20th. Cedric Hunter, he had a great run. Trenton jumped there. So pretty much, really a majority of the drivers in the back half of this field, something just went wrong for them there, either on pit road or through that last run there.
Yeah, either contact under pacing or contact in the wall or one another. And those final 20 laps really shook up how the drivers finished out here tonight. But it's that 00 of Ethan Smith finding himself in victory lane, keeping us at the total of 10 different drivers in that of 12 races, and becoming the second driver to have 2 wins this season. And Zach, I mean, it's crazy to think, but the crazy inconsistency that we've seen from all the drivers all season long, we've had that many of winners with 10. Now the question is, will we see our 11th different winner heading to Nashville next week?
I think we very well could. That track is, still a newer track to I think a lot of guys. So I think Nashville Super Speedway could play out where it could be a situation where someone new comes in there and wins and changes the whole scenario of things. And the way it's been up and down like this, man, the playoffs with that around the corner, it's going to make these rounds super interesting. And I tell you, everyone out there, you're not going to miss it because it's going to be all over the place, I think.
It is going to be a crazy couple of weeks as we are in the final push of a lot of the leagues that we cover coming to the end of their regular seasons. As we've got, tonight, one more race left to go. Then tomorrow night at the Full Send Racing Series, they're in their final push of the last 4 races of their regular season. Then on Wednesday, it's the Wicked Racing League as they're coming to their final 2 races of the regular season. They'll be at Sonoma. Thursday, they're already in the playoffs. It's the Stars and Stripes Series having their first race of round number 1 at Homestead. That should be a good one. Then Saturday, we find ourselves with the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series as they're on their final race of their regular season. Lots of great racing throughout the week, Zach. I mean, it just makes you excited about what's to come here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting.
Yeah, I mean, the fall season is coming in. The weather's starting to cool down a lot, I think, for a lot of people around the country. And man, it's starting to turn into playoff time. It is, it's almost, you got baseball. You come into October, they say the month of October is all about that for baseball and playoffs. Well, I guess that's going to be kind of our month here, Freaky Fast, of just playoffs going from October into November. So these next 2 months, I'm excited, man, because it's going to be nonstop action each and every night of drivers getting eliminated, drivers breaking through, and then crowning champions. That's one of my favorite things to do.
It is the best feeling when you get that championship, and for some of these drivers, they're seeing their hopes dwindle away. Tonight, the second to last race of the season. Next week, it is the conclusion of the regular season where the stage will be set. The 16 drivers will race to see who's going to be going to the playoffs. They've got to go through Nashville Super Speedway, the concrete, the track that feels like 1.5 miles, but is shorter than that, when we get to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, for that Robert Moyer, and everyone else here at Freaky Fast, thanks for joining us here tonight. Hope to see you throughout the week, and if we don't, we'll see you next week. Nashville, who's gonna make it to the playoffs? We'll see you then.